Welcome back to Newsday. Now, barely 1 week after President Donald Trump directed the U.S. military to prepare for possible action over claims of a Christian genocide, the U.S. military has now submitted contingency plans for potential strikes on Nigeria. The New York Times reports that the U.S. Africa Command has drawn up and sent its options to the Department of War this week upon the request of the Secretary, Pete Hegseth. Now, of course, Arise News Chief of Correspondence Ferdinand Duroha reports.
The military intervention plan is drawn up by the U.S. Africa Command, also known as AFRICOM, a military unit Donald Trump had earlier threatened to dismantle as part of a Pentagon downsizing effort. It includes 3 options: heavy, medium, and light. The New York Times quotes the heavy option presented by the command as the most forceful military response that the U.S. could take against Nigeria. It involves sending an aircraft carrier group to the Gulf of Guinea, off the Nigerian coast, and using fighter jets or long-range bombers to strike targets deep inside northern Nigeria. For the medium option, the command suggests using drone strikes against identified military camps, bases, convoys, and vehicles. The New York Times says the light option would center on partner-enabled operations with the U.S. military and the State Department supporting Nigerian government forces to target and neutralize terrorists responsible for attacks on civilians. Although AFRICOM says the goal is to strike Islamist militants in northern Nigeria and protect Christians from armed violence, critics are skeptical about the objectives and implementation. While the plans were designed to allow for a controlled escalation, the asymmetrical nature of Nigeria's conflicts presents a major challenge as terrorist elements often live within citizens, making it difficult for the military to fully engage. The situation is also more complicated due to the issue of proximity. Presently, the United States does not have an airbase in any neighboring country to Nigeria after exiting its bases in Agadez and Niamey, both in Niger Republic. This reduces their options to bases in Southern Europe and Djibouti. Ferdinand Duroha, Arise News.
Well, Victor Giwa is the National Coordinator Advocates for People's Rights and Justice, and he joins us now to discuss President Trump's military threat against Nigeria, Tinubu's commitment to resolve the matter diplomatically, and how the situation could be affecting Nigeria's sovereignty. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Giwa. Now, these are very, very pertinent issues in the sense that when we hear President Tinubu talk about his commitments to resolving this matter diplomatically, looking at the fact that these are not issues that have only just begun, but are issues that have existed for years, and even with past presidents attempting to resolve this issue, what do you think he's going to do differently now from what he had promised to do before?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kashi. I think what the president is expected to do is to put his house in order. He is the the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and that means that he should take, seriously the issues of the protection of lives and property of specifically Christians who, from the information and the data available to the President of the United States, that Christians in Nigeria are under serious threats. Not threats from the government, not threats from their fellow countrymen, but threats from jihadists, threats from terrorists. And I think that the president right now should be all the service chiefs should be on the table, coming out with operational manuals on how to look at these issues, look at how Christians in Nigeria are being threatened, have suffered serious threats and serious attacks from these terrorists. And of course, I know you have not forgotten the Giwa crisis in Benue. You've not forgotten the attacks in Plateau State. You've not forgotten some attacks within the Northeast. So like you said, it didn't start from President Tinubu's tenure. But the question is, what is the president doing when this incident happened, when he became president? The issue of the Giwa killings that took place in Benue happened during the tenure of this president. The issue that happened in Plateau State happened during the tenure of this president. What has he done? What are his plans? What are the plans or ground that he has put in place to avoid the recurrence of some of these attacks? That to us and to any reasonable person is what is important. And that is what the President of the United States is saying.
All right, so now, of course, the President has responded. But I want to find out from you, regardless of what is happening in Nigeria, people say that Nigeria still remains a sovereign nation. And very, very important point, noting that this should be an internal affairs. And if you do not ask for help, no one can forcibly give you help. Talk to me about this.
That is the very interesting part. And I've listened to a lot of persons.
Mr. Giwa, can you hear us?
I was trying to find out from you, your perspective about our sovereignty and, more importantly, the steps that are being taken by President Donald Trump. Some are saying that it's premature.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was addressing that point before the itch. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of persons, including government officials, even the president have explained or tried to explain the fact that, yes, Nigeria is a sovereign state. Oh, the Nigerian sovereignty is protected. Oh, Donald Trump, the president of America, cannot come into Nigeria, and all of those arguments by lawyers. But I want to state very emphatically that that is not correct. And I will tell you why. And when people make this argument, they have to understand what is the sovereignty in terms of Nigeria as a state. Section 42, Section 14, Sub 2, Paragraph A tells us the sovereignty of Nigeria. The Constitution, Section 14, Sub 2, Paragraph A of the 1999 Constitution says that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, through whom the government derives its power and authority. I will state that again. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. Section 14, Sub 2, Paragraph A of the 1999 Constitution as amended. And so, it says sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, and from whom the government of the state derives its power and its authority. So the people that President Trump wants to protect are not Americans. The people that President Trump wants to protect are not Chadians. The people that President Trump is talking about, they are not Ghanaians. They are Nigeria Christians, people of Nigeria, whom sovereignty belongs. So it is, as a matter of fact, if President Trump says that Nigerians, Christians in Nigeria, who seem to be threatened by the terrorists, that if the government did not take appropriate action, he will have to intervene for the protection of Nigeria Christians who form part of Nigerian people to whom sovereignty belongs. So it therefore means that even Donald Trump's action is part of protection of the sovereignty of Nigeria, because sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, and the Christian people are part of Nigeria.
I couldn't agree more with you. The Christian people are definitely a part of Nigeria. So why do you sense any hesitance to what President Donald Trump is attempting to do and what he is speaking on with regard to the issues on hand? What would you say is the cause of the almost emergency response that we are seeing by our government? Because you've rightly said sovereignty belongs to the people, right? The people are actually the ones who willed this power. So if what President Trump is saying and what President Tinubu is saying are in essence, from your description, the same thing, why is there a sense of urgency and emergency in ensuring that this does not happen on the side of where the U.S. is coming in?
Yeah, I think for the part of the government of Nigeria, they see it as one. They see it as a sign of weakness when, as a country, another country is trying to assist you, because security and the welfare of the people are the primary objective of government. So when the issue of security of your people is being questioned, the government of that particular state believes that it will be assumed that he has failed in this responsibility. And that is the interpretation that is given by some government officials, which I don't think is correct. It is considered that the issue of terrorism is not what a particular country can confront. There have been forms of synergy between Nigeria and the United States, Nigeria and other countries. So the intervention by America is not something that should be seen as weakness in the part of Nigeria. I think that the government of Nigeria, and I think the president made allusion to that they will want to welcome such partnership, such synergy, such relationship. So nobody should see it. It is not an invasion. People have interpreted it, oh, America want to invade Nigeria. That is not what President Trump said. Yeah, he drew the attention of the government of Nigeria to say that your Christian people in your country are being threatened, are being killed, not even threatened, by terrorists. That if you don't take serious action to protecting these Christians, we will have to do that. And I think if apart from third columnists who want to misinterpret it, who want to raise a lot of issue from it, what Trump is just saying is that, look, if you think you need help, or if you don't want to call us for help, we will not watch Christians being killed in your country in the name of religion by terrorists who are enemies of the state. One thing we must understand and we must agree is that terrorists are not friends of Nigeria. They are not friends of Nigeria government. They are not friends of the Muslim. They are not friends of the Christians. They are enemies of the state. They are enemies of the Muslim. They are enemies of the Christians. So any attempt to deal with the terrorists should be admitted, should be welcomed by the government of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria.
I want to say many thanks to you, Mr. Victor Giwa, for all your time here on Newsday.